Hello. This is Jonathan, and you're listening to the Johnny Talks podcast, the place where we help you achieve your financial goals. Hola, amigos. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And if you're a new listener to the show, special warm welcome to you. I really appreciate you tuning into the show. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. I appreciate it even more. In today's episode, we will speak to my friend Ishu Singh from the Starting to Know Business podcast. This is a collaboration episode where we cross-interview each other. Ishu is a passionate entrepreneur, and he recently started a podcast about exploring the unexplored depth of the business world. We share the same passion for engaging our audiences, meaning you amigos, and sharing knowledge through podcasting. We will discuss our journey so far, since we are still learning about this medium as we go along. And we will tackle the benefits of starting a podcast versus running a blog. Maybe we can do both. And we will provide some tips for anyone looking at starting one. This episode is for you if you're curious about starting a podcast, the practicalities, how to get started, what to keep in mind, and as well the benefits of podcasting. So without further ado, let's hear the interview.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode number 12 of Starting to Know Business podcast. Today, I am with Jonathan from Johnny Talks. Hi, Johnny. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, Ishu. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And thank you for having me in your podcast too, because this is a collaboration, right?
Yeah, exactly. I never done it this way, but yeah, let's go with it.
So if you're listening to this, if you're listening to my voice, like on Starting to Know my podcast, then go to Johnny's podcast. Johnny's podcast is Johnny Talks. Subscribe for awesome personal financing knowledge. You will learn a ton from him. And Johnny, so let's talk about podcasting and blogging, like power of podcast and blogs. So start from, what is Johnny Talks as a podcast?
Yes, so let's start with blogging actually, Ishu, because this is where I started.
Sure.
So I started with the personal finance as a blog, so it's almost 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy writing and getting to know myself more about personal finance and sharing it with my audience. Mm-hmm. But then through the years, I thought I wanted to add more. I wanted to add a voice to the blog. And I've done as well a little bit of YouTube, but not much. But I started with one interview, mm-hmm. and I thought it was cool. And then from that episode came another one, and then another one, and then basically it's a whole podcast that came. So I'm now airing every week. I air one show.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so it's
awesome.
A full-on podcast, basically.
Awesome. And my journey is like a little bit opposite. I started from podcasts. I don't do much blogs. I was doing some on Medium, because I try to be everywhere. Yes, that is a different strategy from my point of view. Like I am on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, website, this and that. So many places. Like LinkedIn is booming nowadays. So I try to be more on LinkedIn because my audience is there, business related. So my journey is a little bit opposite. So I started with the blog, with the podcast, and now I'm doing a little bit blog post on the side. So it's kind of I would say speech to text, but your case is text to speech.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, it's personal preference, and I'm meeting a lot of like awesome people, and that is what podcast is all about. Like, what do you think the power of meeting awesome people and things like that in the podcast?
Yeah, no, I think it's very great because, when you're writing, as I was blogging, I'm still blogging. You write your thoughts, you write something, you try to give some actionable tips to your audience. Mm-hmm. And with podcasting, you do the same, but you connect with somebody, because my podcast is about having a guest every time, and an expert, somebody that knows something better than me in a particular field. For example, real estate, or somebody that has more experience in dividend stock investing, etc. Mm-hmm. So that person knows more. So the power is that we can both, my guest and we can both deliver a message to the audience. So I'm leveraging knowledge, actually. So that's one thing. And then, there's more stuff, because you connect with people. You really connect with that person, like I'm talking to you right now. We are having a real conversation. yeah, for a certain period of time, which
True.
in these days is difficult to get. I mean, proper conversations without distractions. Tell me when was the last time you had one?
True, true, true. And like if I will say that, okay, if I will approach you without the podcast, you're gonna say like, yeah, it's another message coming from someone stranger. So it's just like that connection or that kind of motivation is not behind that message. So you would say, or any person, I would say that, okay, why I should reply to this person? Oh, okay, yeah, I don't have time to talk to this person. Podcast is a like a I think it's a collaboration effort. Yeah, I will grow. The guest will also grow, but at the same time, like I will learn. It's kind of a free knowledge. I'm being selfish, so it's kind of a free knowledge for me. I'm gonna learn the skills that I won't be able to otherwise learn from anywhere else because I'm talking personally with someone, and at the same time I'm building a connection with the audience, right?
Yes, absolutely. And because with blogging, you can build that connection as well.
Hmm.
But okay, I will be honest here. I was not super consistent in the beginning. With blogging, I had like 3 posts in 3 weeks, and then it was a bit empty for 1 month, etc. So with podcasting, I also make a commitment to the guest that I will post the episode at some point. And okay, if my schedule is weekly, yeah, I'm getting more consistent as well. So it's even better for the audience because they know, hey, every week I will get a new episode with a new guest, with new knowledge. So it's great.
True, true, true. And it's kind of if one person, because blog is, I would say, from one side it's not dynamic, it's one dimensional, because if I am writing the blog, I am talking to the person, or I am talking to the reader, whosoever is reading the blog. In podcast is kind of a dynamic, like I am talking to someone, they are not only getting my knowledge, at the same time they are getting the knowledge from the another person as well. So it's just kind of a dynamic conversation. It's not just like one person talking to the mic and just trying to teach people, okay, what I know, learn from me.
Yes, it's an exchange, and yeah, of course, we always need to pay attention to both the guest and the audience. So that's a bit the difficulty, but it's a nice challenge. I really enjoy it, and it as well. What I notice is that many people, I mean, many potential guests, usually they say yes. You need to do a bit of research and see if it's a match. Like I think you approached me, and I say, okay, I will listen a bit. And I say, hey, it sounds good. I really liked your enthusiasm in your other episodes. So yeah, I think we are a good fit for discussion on the podcast. So you build a connection, and people usually are pretty positive. I mean, if there's a match, yes, of course, let's record and let's have fun.
True, true. And there is another way of looking at it as well. Like podcast is kind of, you don't have to sit at one place. You don't have to have like, because right now I've seen a trend, people traveling to train. Even if I'm driving, usually I try to listen to my podcast like in order to improve, because if I'm not going to listen to myself, okay, I cannot like find out the faults. Okay, I was doing something wrong here. I need to improve. So after that, if I get some time, I try to listen to some other podcasts as well. So because nowadays, like normal journey, 20-25 minutes is normal. Like when you travel from one place to another,
Correct.
25 minutes, 20 minutes is normal. So podcast is the best time consumption, because you don't have to hold your phone, you just play and it will keep on playing. And like I was reading the statistics from American Marketing Association as well. Like they were saying that 26% of Americans listen to a podcast in the last month. So it's, the volume is so high. The competition is also high. Like it's not, okay, you came with the thought, okay, you want to start the podcast and you're going to start recording your audio. It's not like that. Competition is also there, because there are many apps as well, which is allowing the people to record the podcast with less investment, right, Johnny?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And, getting started, okay, for me, it was a bit easy because I had all the equipment basically. I mean, I received a microphone because I play the guitar as a hobby. So
Cool.
I already had how you call that? The kind of, not the Scarlett, but I have another one.
Hmm.
But this kind of external sound card in which I plug in the microphone.
Hmm.
So I already had that before. It didn't cost me. I had a microphone I received for my birthday, and I have a laptop like everybody else.
Hmm.
So my cost was zero. And of course, now I need to buy a little subscription to Podbean. In my case, there are other service providers out there, but okay, it's €9 a month. It's nothing, it's very little. And okay, and even if you're getting started, you can get a decent microphone for under $100. So
True.
you can really get started with quite quickly, actually.
True. And so I really agree with that. But I think, Johnny, like sometimes in my podcast journey, this was a whole new learning curve for me, because when I started, knowing the mic, if you're not from sound industry, you don't know which mic to pick, what is white noise, what is other stuff. Like when you don't talk, you will hear that, you will listen to that hissing sound on the back end, like many other things, like editing the podcast. Like it's a whole different level game, like if you want to go professionally well into the field, because you cannot have just like normal podcast cover, because if some new listener is searching for related content, the content that the podcast publisher or the host is publishing, it's gonna be hard for that person to make the decision if the podcast cover sucks. So so I think so I think the podcast cover, editing, mic, all these things matter, and how you talk, because you can wear anything, you can sit in your closet and start talking, because there you will get less echo. You need to understand echo as well. But seems like a hard topic, but when you start doing it, like 1 or 2 episode is gonna be, whoa, what I'm gonna do in this. So but after that, you started feeling comfortable. That was my journey in this podcast. How was yours? It was easy for you, Johnny, or you had to learn
Oh
something?
yeah, I fell into the rabbit hole as well of technical equipments and which microphones,
Yeah.
etc. I had already my eyes set on my current microphone, but I wanted to get some advice, and I want to look. And then how do you record? Which provider do you need? I just mentioned Podbean.
True.
I mean, I'm not sponsored by Podbean or anything, but I'm using it. And there's like a Libsyn, etc. But I mean, you need to do your research. Why should I go to this one, not that one? So yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming, because you need to get your technicals straight before you
Exactly.
record.
Yeah.
And of course, you want to have a decent sound, because if you have a crappy sound, and as you mentioned, let's say a first listener stumbles upon your podcast, and okay, the sound is not so clear, it's not pleasant for him neither. So the chances are he will just leave your podcast and maybe not return again. So it's very important to get that right. And but the thing I knew is, okay, my first episode, I think it took me many hours. I don't know, maybe 8 hours to record, to do the technical, to do the editing.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew as well that after this first episode, everything is down. My recipe is not my recipe, but my process should be more or less set.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my provider, my hosting provider for the episodes. I know how to do it. I know what I need to check in my program, in my Zoom or Skype,
Mm-hmm.
how I need to do it, etc. So luckily, I mean, I had that mindset. It will be hard the first time. The next one should be much easier. Then I can focus on speaking better, looking for the right guests, etc. So technicals, but you still need to pay attention to the technical parts. Of course, you need to do the sound checks, etc. before each episode. But yeah, if anybody listening wants to start a podcast, the first episode will be hard.
True. Like anything else, YouTube videos or anything, like it's first is gonna be damn hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because in the first episode, I also spent a lot of time in editing. I was not sure which software to use, because you cannot hire anyone just directly, like, okay, edit my podcast. You need to learn first yourself, then try to manage other people. Like, okay, because that person will say, okay, I spent 20 hours in editing your podcast. If you don't know, that it actually takes 20 hours or no. Like you are just wasting your money if you have money to hire someone to edit your podcast. What I
Mm-hmm.
believe in. And Johnny, we were discussing about the learnings before. We just discussed. Okay, we get a lot of awesome people on our podcast, and we learn at the same time. It's just awesome feeling. Like it's a kind of a free learning. Sorry for being selfish, but so
Well,
it's
we
just
are sharing, huh?
yeah, true, true, true. And do you have any awesome guest story like that you want to share? Anything, any awesome experience? Because I'm gonna start first. I think I've done approximately 10, 11 episodes. I don't know when this will be published, but I have so far published 11 episodes. I met 8 or 9 individuals, awesome people. Some are writing books, some are running scalable companies like multi-million dollar companies, raised $70 million from Google, Goldman Sachs, and many other companies. Met the founders of CRM companies, different insights. And I cannot pick any one person. I'm not being diplomatic. It's just like you get different opinion from different people, because within 25 minutes it's hard to cover or hard to dig deep into the knowledge of any particular person. So it's just like I enjoyed each and every conversation that I had. What about you, Johnny? Like any particular one, or you want to go with all?
Yeah, I don't want it to be diplomatic neither, but no, I've had great conversations, and I will mention one episode that I recorded. It's not published yet
Hmm.
because I was really astonished, or not astonished, but I was really, yeah, I really love the topic. It's about financial therapy, actually. The guy, his name is Derek.
Hmm.
He's a financial therapist. So, of course, it's pretty new. So I was very excited because, money management, I always say it, I've said it several times. It's not only about putting money aside and picking the right stock or the right index funds, etc., and leaving it there. That's very important. But the
Hmm.
most, the first step is to get your money mindset right. And then we talked to this guy, Derek. I really enjoyed the conversation because I was like, wow, but this is great financial therapist. I've never heard of that. I was really learning a lot, but it was very important, I think, for my audience and for anybody's money mindset. So this is one I'm really excited to share on later in September,
Hmm.
because it's really something new. I mean, I haven't heard much of a financial therapist, and on the other hand, of course, I had a lot of excellent, great conversations and fun conversations recently. For example, on motivational content with Martin Dasco and a guy I met on Twitter, actually. So it's really funny. I mean, I had a lot of contact, and then you talk to the persons you've been writing to or just emailing to,
Hmm.
and then you get to contact, and you see there's a chemistry already there even before you start recording. So that's a great thing. So it's hard to pick any one of that, but the one that I have in my head was this guy Derek, because it's really new, and I'm really excited to share this episode then later on.
Sure, I will also look forward to it. I was When you were telling me financial therapy, I said, okay, wow. So someone is gonna give me a massage using the money, like using the currency. Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
Like then.
exactly. Yeah. And this is a question I'm asking him, like, am I gonna lie down on the couch and you just sit there taking notes, and then we discuss how it goes, and then it's very similar to that, actually, but it's like yeah, it will be interesting.
Awesome, awesome. I will look forward to it. And Johnny, like, what are your thoughts about the blogs? Because you are more expert in blogs than me. I write blogs, or have a team who writes blog for other businesses, but
Mhm.
I usually I don't get time to write for my own stuff, like blogs for my own business or myself. Like, what are your thoughts about the power of words on the internet? Yes, blogs ranks, people search, and that's how you get found. But what do you think, if someone is doing a podcast, that person should repurpose that podcast, like that repurpose that podcast episode, like particular one, into a blog, or the blog should be like completely unique? What do you think? Like, what are your takes on this?
Oh no, absolutely. You it's so first things first. So podcast and blogging, they're different techniques. It's different way of conveying your message. they're not mutually exclusive. Huh? So whatever we are talking about, I can put that in a blog post, or whatever I make a blog post about, we can make a podcast about it. There's no problem with that. You will need to, however, change a bit what you say, in the sense that, for example, I recently wrote an article on my podcast about an investment I made.
Mm-hmm.
It's in garages and parking spots. I'm in the blog post. I'm detailing exactly, what was my profitability, etc. So in that sense, maybe the blog post is better to discuss the details, really the financial nitty gritty and the formulas on how I calculate my profitability. Because, for this, a visual medium is better.
Mm-hmm.
But we could easily talk about parking spots in a podcast. We will go less into the technical details, but I can always talk about, yes, I had to pay attention to the maintenance fees, etc. So it impacted my profit. I can mention some numbers, but then in the written post, more than on the formulas, and more maybe give more details and links to here and there. So, and of course, I encourage everybody, if you can, do it yourself or through colleagues or through a company, repurpose your content. It's fantastic because then you do the content once, you talk about any topic, and then let's say a CRM solution, you talk to one guy,
Mm-hmm.
CEO of a CRM company, then
Yep.
you have your interview, and then you can pick out some nuggets from that interview, 3 bullet points, whatever. You put that on Instagram or in one post, in one image. You put that on Pinterest, whatever. You put that in a blog post. You can do whatever you want. And repurposing is great because then the content was produced only once. So it's okay, I'm doing this everything by myself. For
Mm-hmm.
now, I delegate just only a handful of tasks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, repurposing is great because then you can attract visitors from different platforms.
Yeah. If you may allow, I was thinking, okay, because it's my opinion, what I've seen so far, if repurposing of the content is going to be straight away, just speech to text, using any service, it's going to be, I would say, very less engaging for any kind of audience. If it is going to be straight away repurpose of the content, I think more detailed blog post regarding that particular piece of a podcast episode is going to be much more beneficial. If I was talking about the stats, which I did in this episode as well, the visual representation in the blog is going to be highly beneficial for someone. If you can
Absolutely.
show the graphs or something, give something additional in the blog post. What I think that is going to be more powerful.
Yes, exactly. So when I say repurposing, it's not a mere copy paste. So
True.
it's indeed adding a graph or adapting to the platform. If it's on Twitter, you link the article. Okay, maybe Twitter is not a good example, but if it's Instagram, well, either you make a short video,
True,
or you make just a graph with a few, like a nice picture with just a little bit of text, and that's it. And then maybe kind of have a summary of your blog post or of your podcast episode in the show notes. In the caption of Instagram. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Johnny, what are your thoughts about the business podcast? I just came across the podcast from Facebook. Do you know any brand that has a amazing podcast? It can be I can be 1,000% wrong, but when we listen to any of the podcasts, we try to relate with the host. If it is a business podcast, some company is producing the podcast, and the host is changing every single day. Every single episode is new host. I believe that as an audience, as a user, because you never know. I will be doing the podcast for my company, but I'm saying that the connection with the host is most important. What I believe in, instead of having 10 different hosts, because then if you like one person, yes, that can be another scenario. If you like one host out of the 10 hosts, you're gonna that person will wait. Okay, when that particular host episode is gonna be live, I will listen to that particular episode. It can be a scenario, but I think that if for regular growth, one host for one podcast is very important. What do you think about it, Johnny?
Yes, exactly. I think I share the same opinion because Okay, I haven't listened to the Facebook podcast mostly business podcasts. Mostly I listen to people I know through the FinCon community, so it's mostly personal finance. But of course, I have listened to Tim Ferriss a lot. And then I listen to, for example, the Financial Independence Europe podcast. So there, for example, it's 3 hosts. I like all 3 of them, but it's okay because it's a limited number. Then it's okay. So, okay, today it's Araminta. The other day it's these 2 other guys, and it's fine. Then it's Matthias, and I forgot. Anyway, but it's okay. Then you can relate to all 3 because it's a limited number. And then, of course, I mentioned Tim Ferriss, or, for example, a guy I really like to listen to. It's Pete McPherson from Do You Even Blog? So this guy who was also a guest on my show. So it's him, so it's one person. And I like to listen to this guy, and it's great. I feel connected. I feel that I know him in a way. I can predict his reaction, his kind of jokes. Same with other type of podcasters. I know them. You build that connection. If you have 10, maybe it's harder, indeed, unless you stick to 1 or 2 person that you really enjoy listening to or you connect well. So I feel that too. And, it's like, I always compare podcasting to listening to the radio. Because as a kid, as a teenager, and even in my early student years, we like to listen to a show of a particular host. We say, oh yeah, well, I'm listening to I don't know what, David, or this guy in France. There was a guy called Coe. He's a guy making jokes. It was a bit fun in the morning. So yeah, I'm listening to Coe, or listening to other type of shows, and then the host, and that's why you listen to him. It's because of the host.
True. That personal connection. Yeah. And Johnny, before we wrap up, anything that you want to share with the people who are listening to this podcast episode?
Yeah, well, the podcast for me, I've done it for 1 year now, and I think it's great. So if you want to start, don't hesitate to connect. But if you want to start, don't be afraid. Just do it. That's my only tip. And if you're a bit shy, etc., well, try it for yourself. Buy a microphone, record yourself, or even record you with the microphone of your computer. The sound will not be as good, but then if you start to feel confident, then just buy the mic and put it out there. I know for some people it's hard to come on the microphone and really talk to people. The people are nervous. It's new. But if you never try anything, then you will never get it. You will never be able to do. So it's better to try a little. So record yourself for 5 minutes. Do that for 1 month. I don't care. Listen to yourself. Try to improve. And when you feel comfortable, well, just put it out there.
True. I 100% agree with this. Like when I was starting out, like I'm going to give a little bit context with like, I didn't know anything. As we discussed, Johnny and I discussed, like we both started from somewhere. That starting journey it's a little bit hard, but if you can overcome that first episode fear, okay, don't try to be perfect. If you cannot invite any guest, start from your own self. Okay, do a intro episode, what your podcast is going to be all about. Just record that. Okay, whatever name you would have selected. I did in this way. I did for my podcast episode. I recorded my first episode. It was kind of an intro, what my podcast is gonna be all about. And I shared, people gave me their kind of feedback. Okay, not everybody. I was not able to give it to anyone, whosoever didn't know even about me. I shared it with the people I know, and I got the feedback, and like most of them liked it. And I kept on improving every single episode. And here I am now. Just I think few weeks back, I came to know that I'm trending in few of the categories like entrepreneurship, business in few of the countries like Canada, India, Belgium, many other countries. So I didn't know that I'm going to be this far. Not at all. I didn't have any kind of like a kind of aim that I will be reaching at this place. But yeah, I started. You can do too.
Yes, and another thing is that it doesn't matter what you talk about. If it's, for me, it's personal finance. There are already a ton of people speaking about personal finance, but everybody has a known point of view or a unique view on things. So don't worry, you have one too. Your experience is unique. Your professional experience is unique. So there will always be something you will add to the conversation, something that somebody could benefit from. So it doesn't matter if what you say, okay, maybe it will be 80% common knowledge or something that somebody already said. It doesn't matter, but at least you will have your own tone of voice. You will have your own way of presenting things, and be yourself, and share what you know, and there will always be a nugget for somebody. And that's the important part as well.
True. Awesome. I like that. And Johnny, where can listeners go and learn more about you, your business, your podcast, what you're doing?
Yes. So people can, everything is on the website. It's johnnytalks.com. So JONEYTALKS. So it's like Money Talks, but with J at the start. So it's a pun between my first name and the expression Money Talks. So everything is there. And then, of course, I'm on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Johnny Talks everywhere. And, of course, the podcast is the Johnny Talks podcast. So I think if you Google that, you will find everything.
Awesome. And I'm going to share mine. Johnny didn't ask me to share mine, so I'm going to still do it.
I was going to.
My website is Ishu Singh, ISHUSINGH.com, ishusingh.com. You can go there. You can see my other content pieces, blog posts, YouTube videos. My podcast is Starting to Know Business podcast. That is going to be with me. Again, I am inviting business people, like the people who are entrepreneurs, running scalable companies, who are just starting out from marketing field, from different areas of life. And you will learn a ton from that podcast as well. So if you have any questions, anything that you want to learn, so you can go to any social handle that starts from I am Ishu Singh, or it's going to be only Ishu Singh. You can search on Google as well, and you can find me there. And it was a great pleasure to talk to you, Johnny, today. Awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Ishu, thank you for this conversation.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. And in case you were wondering about starting a podcast, whether for yourself, as a standalone, as an addition to your blog, like I did, or for your business, I hope this was helpful to you and that you get some inspiration, some ideas as to what the benefits could be for you. And before we head off, here are the key takeaways for today. Number 1, the power of podcasting. Podcasting will allow you to meet awesome people and leverage knowledge. Podcasting is as well an opportunity for an undistracted conversation, which does not happen so often these days. Number 2, you will get access to free knowledge and you can build connection with the audience. And just think of the radio shows you enjoy or have enjoyed in the past. It's exactly the same principle. You connect with the host. Number 3, your audience can listen to podcasts on the go, during their commute, or on a trip. This is how I listen to most of the podcasts, actually. Or even in the morning, when you brush your teeth, etc. Number 4, as a producer, there's a low barrier to entry since the startup costs are minimal. It's basically hosting and a microphone, which you can buy for under $100 or euros. But on the flip side, the first episode will be very hard. The learning curve is high. Number 5, if you already have an existing platform, such as a blog, should you repurpose your content from one platform to the other, text to speech, speech to text? Our answer is yes. You will need to adapt your content, of course. But then it's an opportunity to attract more visitors from different platforms. Think of Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter. Just repurpose, add more content in the case of a blog, more details. And in the case of Instagram, you can, for example, put an image or a graph or 3 bullet points and so on. Just adapt it to the platform. And as a final word, just do it. Just start. Even record yourself for 5 minutes, make an intro episode, whatever. Just get started, okay? So that was it for today. Thank you so much for listening. It really means a lot to me. Make sure you subscribe in Apple Podcast. And of course, please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or feedback. Send me an email, john@johnnytalks.com, or connect through social media at Johnny Talks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And amigos, once more, thanks so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next time.